All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It is straight up 12 o'clock high noon here on Texas in Color. And our guest today is no other than Darsell Johnson. And Darsell, for our listeners out there, we're going to jump right into it.
Okay.
For listeners meeting you for the first time, who is Darsell Johnson beyond the title and the campaign?
Honestly, if you ask me who I am a servant. I am. I work within the community, and it is my job and my responsibility to build up the community. I don't take credit for who I am. I know whose I am. And so I am a personal, people know me by my hair colors because it changes constantly.
Okay.
Right now it's purple, but I'm the person that you can approach no matter where I am. And I have a listening ear and a willing heart to help serve and to make the world better.
Okay.
So
What
I'm just Darcel at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, what moment or season made you say, I need to run for justice of the peace?
It was not my decision.
Oh,
It was not my decision. You know, when I tell people, they look at me real like I'm really strange. The Monday where it was storming all over the place, especially in Plano, and I was trying to rest, recovering from a shoulder surgery, and I was leaning through the Spirit, Lord said, "Get up and go run." I said, "No, I'm good," because I was precinct chair, and I'm good, I'm good. He said, "Oh no, you're gonna get up and go." I'm like, "No, I'm good." He said, "Oh yeah, you're going." So guess what? I was obedient. I got up, I went, got the paperwork, said, "Okay, Lord, I'll do whatever you tell me to do, however you want me to do it. But this is not my area of expertise. It's not my forte. I'm more behind the scenes. I am in front of the camera."
oh, boy, that changed, didn't
Oh boy, did it ever?
it?
Yes,
Sometimes I'm voluntold a lot of times, without asking. I'm
pretty much.
voluntold.
Yeah.
And I like be behind the scenes. And people tell me, how are you behind the scenes? You're on the radio every day. I say, it's different. I'm in my comfort zone right here. You're
Yeah.
in there. Which leads to this next question. In plain language, what does Justice of the Peace do day by day in Precinct 2?
So one of the responsibilities of the office is truancy, and that's working with kids as well as their families to offset truancy and find out the reason why behind it. Second thing is they do small claims up to $20,000, and it doesn't require an attorney. It does, however, require education so you know what you're walking into. Another thing they do is they perform marriages, and I've been a licensed ordained minister since 1995, so this would be right up my alley. Another thing that we do in the Justice of the Peace is we deal with evictions and small foreclosures. So we work not only with the landlords, but we work with the tenants too to make sure their rights are being acknowledged. So that's pretty much what we do in a nutshell.
Okay. Now, did you say it's up to $20,000 and they do not have to have a lawyer?
That's correct.
Okay.
This
Okay.
particular court, it's your first area into the judicial system. So it doesn't require an attorney unless you want one for small claims. My suggestion is you get some legal advice if you ever serve with a small claims lawsuit, so you'll know what you're walking into. But you don't have; it's not required to have an attorney.
Okay. For some reason, I thought $10,000 was the limit, but it's 20. Does it
It's
vary?
changed.
Oh man, because I remember one
It's
time
changed.
cost of living changed too. So
That's true,
why not?
right? Absolutely.
You know, when people say impartial justice, what's the guiding principle to keep you fair, especially when emotions run high?
Clean. You can't take it personal. The law is the law. But I tell people the law was left up into interpretation. That's how we got our laws, based upon a group of people saying this is how this should be. So when you're dealing with people that come into this system, you need to see them for who they are And one of the things that we find in especially this particular court is that they don't see individuals. You've got them and you've got us, for lack of a better phrase. So applying the law fairly across the board, no matter race, creed, nationality, sexual orientation, none of that. And being able to have an open ear. And it's not about you. It's about applying the law fairly and making sure that justice is served, period, regardless of who you are.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because it's people go in there and I don't know, they expect just the opposite without really hearing the truth. Because I was told on anything that went on, there's three sides to every story. And you always say his side, her side, and in the middle lies the truth. And
Right.
and with you being there, you gotta listen to both sides. And people gotta understand the judge is not taking sides. It's listening to what's presented to them before they make their ruling. And a lot of people, they don't understand that. They point blank don't understand it. So,
Well, the judge is there basically to be a mediator and to make sure that justice is rendered fairly. But if you're already biased, then that presents a problem. If you're not able to see beyond your own biases, then you've already ruled in favor of one or the other instead of being impartial and saying, let me see how this applies to the law and how I can apply it to this particular case. But the other part of that is educating the people that are coming in. I mean, I don't know about your life, but you walk into a court system and, you've been served and you've never done this before, so you're already afraid. You're afraid that you're going to go to jail. And this particular court does not do jail. They don't do jail. That goes to the next level. And so knowing that you can walk in and, okay, I know I'm not going to jail, but how do I handle this? And putting people at ease and providing them with the education to know why they're there and what that court does.
you just answered my next question. my next question was, what would you say to residents who feel the court system is intimidating or stacked against them? And you pretty well answered that right then. I said, wow. And you have not seen my questions, right?
No, I haven't. No.
But
so
go ahead.
I would tell people, I've been on both sides of the law. I have twin daughters that just graduated from college, but in 2015, they both had a life-threatening disease that almost took them out. So that meant they spent a lot of time out of school. We end up in truancy court. I had all the documentation. Was I afraid? Yes, I was, because I didn't know what I was walking into. But I had a judge that said, okay, tell me what's going on. And they listened, and I showed them the documentation. He was sympathetic. He said, here's what we can do. We offer solutions. Everything doesn't require a judgment. Sometimes it requires solutions. And if you're not open to those solutions, you do the court injustice as well as the people that you're serving.
I like that. That's the whole idea. It's open communication. Letting them know.
Absolutely.
Letting them know what happened. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, okay, we understand. Because life throws you curveballs.
It does.
When you least expect it. Here's oh, Lord, how am I going to get through this? And,
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, how do you balance compassion with accountability in a courtroom setting?
I weigh it. I'm listening to you. And I've been guilty of, I listen to you, but I listen to what you're not saying. And I also read your body language. If you're coming in and you really are genuinely sorry or sympathetic or remorseful for whatever has occurred and you want to take steps necessary, that's one thing. But for lack of a better phrase, if you come shucking and jiving, that's a no, because you're not going to pull anything over on me. I'm listening to you, but I hear through. And so while I understand the law is the law, but sometimes, as I said earlier, it requires a balancing act. It requires you to take you out of it. What are you saying? How can we make this situation better? So I take my emotions out of the equation because it's not about emotion. It's about rendering the law fairly and impartially.
Okay. Let's talk about your experience and perspective and things. Um, you have shared that you have been on both sides of the law.
And
How has that shaped your view of justice and second chances?
so I have a son that's now 23, and he didn't want to listen. He wanted to do it his way. He thought the world had the answers. And so, of course, when you're underage, they will come for the child, but they're going to come for the parents first. And they're trying to make you accountable. So I explained to the judge, here's what's going on. Here are the steps I've taken to try to help him. Now, ultimately, it's his decision, and he is of age to be able to answer, even though he wasn't quite 18. I said, but I'm willing to go along with whatever you said. And I will never forget this judge saying to me, he said, so when do you want to take my place? I said, what do you mean? He said, you sound you sound more authentic than what I do. He said, I said, I do the best that I can, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
play. I'm a no nonsense. Either you want to do it or you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were able to keep him from getting a felony because of my testimony and that I had a track record to show that I really was trying to keep my son in line.
Yeah.
So that being on the other side, also mentioned to you about my daughters when they were really, really sick. And, it could have gone a different way. And oftentimes, and I've been there firsthand with some of my clients, going to the court system with them and seeing them not handled fairly. They're being dismissed versus tell me what's really going on. So you got to balance. You have to listen, and you have to be willing to listen and work toward a resolution versus always handing down a fine or something along that line, judgment.
Yeah. Wow. And you're right. There go that thing. We're gonna say communication and
Absolutely.
listening because you really have to. I think my mom told me years ago, in order to be a good communicator, you have to be a great listener.
Yeah.
And if you don't listen to any of the problems, you're not gonna, like you said, there's a solution to every problem. But
Right.
sometimes that solution you don't like, but that's a
It is what
solution,
it is.
and you have to live by that solution that comes up with it. And 9 times out of 10, if you go by that solution, either you didn't like it, and you go by that solution, sometimes that makes you a better person because you actually listened what the problem was.
Saw something today about oftentimes as parents, we try to save our kids from the choices they made
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we do. But sometimes, as my mother used to say, and I mean no disrespect, you need to let the butt hit the pavement
Yes,
because what happens if you're not there? There's nobody to
exactly.
rescue them. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what I've seen, and I can speak to two particular cases where I've taken clients in, excuse me, and instead of listening I knew what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
but legally I couldn't say anything because I was the case manager. I knew what was going on, but if you refuse to even listen to see how you can help solve this problem, therein lies the issues. One of the things you asked me about Zoom court, there needs to be a Zoom court. There also should be an evening court. Not everybody can make it to court during 7 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever the case may be.
Right.
How about 1 or 2 nights a week? You change your schedule to where you can accommodate those parents who work in the evening. Those, not just the parents, but those defendants who are have working hours because if they can't work, then they can't get paid, which means you've got then you're leading to evictions and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Also, at least once a month doing a weekend court, a Saturday for those parents, those people who work Monday through Friday and can't afford to take off. Most of the people I know live paycheck to paycheck, and they don't get paid when they take off. So how about we put in some accommodations to try and help not only alleviate the backload, but also to be able to accommodate these people and get a resolution versus dragging in the court for a year,
Yeah.
6 months.
And
So
you,
those are some of my solutions.
well, and you again, you answer my next question. What are the top 2 or 3 priorities you would address first if elected?
Education. People are afraid when they walk in. They get something from Collin County Justice and they immediately panic. Oh God, I'm going to jail. And so educating them about what is, what, one of the things I would really like is at least once a month or once a quarter, probably once a quarter, have a seminar for your people that's in your community. Let them know what the court does, how it handles the different situations, and providing them with resources in case they ever land in justice of the peace to court. That's the first thing. Second thing is, personally, I would set up a checks and balances. If this case comes into my court today, then I will make sure there's a reminder put in the system that I follow up within 2 weeks to know what's happening with it. Is there any movements? There any decisions? So it doesn't linger in the system, because there's no reason why a case should still be in the system 6 months to a year later, especially on something minor.
Yeah.
How about we address that right then? The other thing is, I said it again and I'll continue to say it. When you have people that are coming into the system, see them, not you, not your biases. You got to be able to meet them right where they are. Now, does that mean that you skirt the law? No, you don't. But if you can't see me beyond what you see and what could be happening behind the scenes, then again, you do me an injustice and you do the court system an injustice. So seeing people for who they are and offering them what they need in order to be more successful and be better selves in the future.
Okay. So what changes can a JP court make to improve the experience for everyday people, especially those without lawyers?
There's a way to put people at ease. If I walk in, I'm a person that smiles. I do. And a smile, can it hide a frown? It can. But you will be more apt to feel more at ease if you walked into a courtroom and someone greeted you. Good morning, good afternoon. How are you today? Why are you here? Let me tell you why you're here. And here's how these things are going to go. So putting people at ease it's a really big thing for me. Now, it may end up where it doesn't rule in their favor, but at least they have a starting point to know that, okay, I'm not judged from the moment I walk through the door. And that in and of itself for me makes a big difference. So I would make sure that I would provide them with that first. Explain to them, as they say in layman's terms, as to why they're there, what some of the solutions can be, and ask them for the backstory as to how they feel they got to where they are. And then work with the other party to see how we can mitigate this to where everyone comes out okay. Sometimes it'll rule in their favor, sometimes it won't. But at least they'll have a fighting chance.
Okay. So how will you ensure people understand their rights and responsibility without crossing the line into giving legal advice?
And then with documentation, like a small library there so they'll know addressing the different things. Truancy, small claims, evictions, minor traffic tickets along that line. They would have the documentation to be able to read. They'll have it in their hand now. Will you hope they read? Yes. But if they had a question, you could answer the question without giving legal advice. So it will be up to them. You provide them with the resources. It's up to them what they do with it. So that's what I would do. I would have a small library within the court system, within the foyer lobby, so that they'll know why they're there and they'll have a chance to read it over before they walk into the courtroom. And if they had a question, then they could ask the question, and the judge, myself, could answer the question and say, this is what this means, without giving legal advice.
Okay. So now let's talk about fairness, trust, and accountability.
Okay.
What does accountability looks like for a judge who holds the court accountable, and how will you invite public trust?
It's not about me. It's about making sure the law is administered fairly across the board, letting people know that I do have an open ear. I do have compassion. I still have to administer the law, but I am willing to listen to you so that we can come to a resolution of this particular case. It's so important for us to be accountable for what we do, not just for ourselves, but for the people that work under us, because everybody has to be on the same page. And if I'm saying one thing and my clerks are doing something else, then it's divided. And the house divided against itself won't stand. It won't. So you have to have the right people there. And we're all pulling in the same direction. As far as trust, there's been a distrust in the court system, period. And when you're starting at the first level, as I said before, people are afraid. So reminding them and letting them know, this is where we are. This is what this court does. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to the other party impartially. I need you to understand that should I rule in the other party's favor, it has nothing to do with what I think of you versus what the law requires. And so stating that up front, they'll then be able to make their own decision.
Okay.
And then following through.
All right. So, how will you handle a situation where personally you disagree with someone's viewpoint, but you still must treat them equally under the law?
Agree? Not everybody's right, and that includes me. And so just because you said doesn't mean that it's right. What does the law say and what does it require in this particular case? Now, you don't have to agree, but the law requires that I administer it according to how it is written. And that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to talk about voter connections.
Okay?
Why are you best fit for Collin County Precinct 2 right now?
Well, you're looking at me. I tell people often, what you see is what you get with me. I'm not traditional. I've never known what that's like. And so someone who doesn't look like me, but could meet me on the street, the first thing they would notice is the way I talk and my hair. They'll let them know that I'm approachable because I don't look like the status quo. And so they'll be more apt to respond to me. In doing that, because I've been on both sides of it, and I've been a single parent a long time, so I understand living from paycheck to paycheck. I understand what it's like to take from Peter to pay Paul, and Paul broke too. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be faced with an eviction and need someone to show some mercy. So being able to tell people about this, because I have firsthand knowledge, not something I read or something someone told me, but because I know, that's going to make a big difference when I'm dealing with people, especially in this community, because this is still a rural community, and a lot of people are going through. But I can relate to them on their level, and they, again, can relate to me.
Okay. If you could leave voters with one message today, what is it?
I see you. I hear you. I understand. I understand your frustration. I understand your fear. I understand that you have no idea what to expect if you're ever served with papers to go to court. My job is to make sure that you understand why you're there and to treat you fairly. And honestly, with me, what you see is what you get. I will never be rude and disrespectful. I will always listen. But at the end of the day, the law has the final decision. And so that's where I'm at. I'm just Darsell at the end of the day.
Okay. Let me ask you something. I find this out here in our county, in our city here. Resources. It's like people don't know resources, where to go to get help. The only time when that happens is when you get in trouble. Let's face it, they're there for you when you get in trouble. How can we intervene early, not going to court. And I know you won't see them till they come to court. But what can we do to make sure resources are there for them before they take the law into their own hands, I would say, because there's resources out there for being evicted. There's resources out there for childcare. There's a lot of resources out there. And my number one question when I go talk to people, we didn't know the resource even exists. It's like the county or the city don't want to say, we got money right here. We got grants right here. But it's hard to get to it. How would you address that?
You know, it's interesting that you would ask me that question. I'm sitting in my office. I'm going to slide off camera for just a second and grab something that I'm looking at. People that know me really well. I'm a resource person. Pages and pages of resources that I offer to people and to my clients. So you'll have this information. And I would admonish you to call, to email, to go in person, to take part in these resources because they're available. And this is what I do on a daily basis for my clients, for people in the community. Here's what's available to you. If I need to follow up with you, I can. Well, not as a judge, but, doing what I do now. But It's available. And I make sure that anybody that needs this information, they have it. I'm going to provide it. And I will also, if I'm elected, make sure that they have these resources sitting in the lobby with the other educational information so that no one misses the mark. If they choose not to take part in it, there's nothing I can do about that. But it's there. But the goal is to tell people before they get to the court, to have people that will go into these communities and say, here are things that's available to you should you need them. Mm-hmm. And that's important. That's important. And that's one of the things I'm going to, as I block walk and everything, is to give these to people, say, these are the resources that's available to you in this area. Should you ever need them, you have it.
You are the first candidate that I brought this up that had it. I mean, that is brilliant because I get bombarded with that all the time. I go to events and I make sure resources and all that stuff and everything because people need to know that. And,
they do.
And it's hard when you don't know. You know, almost like you're giving up because nobody care about me. But it isn't.
Exactly.
It isn't a problem. Nobody care about you. You got to care about yourself to go out and find those resources. You got to figure out. You got to figure out who you need to contact to get the resources. Cause sometimes just don't make one phone call.
Right.
You got to really
and then give up.
Mm-hmm. And when you do get that resource, don't hide it. Share it with everybody else. And that's the key right there. Once people find out something, oh, I'm not telling nobody else about this. This is mine. You know.
But you do the rest of the people a disservice because, truthfully, I don't want to see anybody suffer. I don't. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you the tools to help you. Now, I can't. It's like, what's the saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Mm-hmm. I can give you the resources, but what you do with them is left up to you. But you'll never be able to say that I didn't give them to you.
Amen to that. Okay. Where can people follow your campaign, volunteer, or learn more and donate?
So it's Darsell Johnson, jp2.com.
Okay. Now I'm going to hit you up
on
with
Facebook.
Go ahead.
I'm also on Facebook at Darsell Johnson for JP2. I am on Instagram, Darsell Johnson JP2. I haven't quite mastered TikTok yet. And I haven't quite, I'm being honest, done YouTube. My daughters are supposed to help me with that because that's their age, not mine.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yes.
Well, make sure you send me all those contacts right there. So when I go ahead and redo this and put it out there, everything be on there for everybody to contact you. Okay, I'm gonna hit you up with 3 quick questions.
Okay.
And I call it my quick hitter, and just boom, get it out of there. Okay, here we go. First one: Justice of peace. Define justice in one word. I'm sorry,
Everyone.
not one word, one sentence. I made it hard on you. In one sentence.
Impartial.
Okay.
It's applicable to everybody.
Okay. What is one misconception about JP Court?
That you're going to jail. You're not going to jail. You'll get a fine, but you're not going to jail.
Okay.
Unless you have some warrants out for your arrest when you show up for court.
Yeah, well, yeah, that point. That point right there.
Yeah.
Why are all the policemen in here?
Yeah.
Okay, last one. What will you never compromise on as a judge?
Never going to compromise on who I am. The law is the law. And I'm going to administer the law fairly. But I'm not going to compromise my ethics and my beliefs for anybody. I'm not going to do that. Period.
Okay. Wow. Well, Ms. Johnson, I appreciate you taking time out coming on the show, and I appreciate all that because we were on that one platform, was it Tuesday? And I sent out my calendar link for anybody who want to come on, and you and about 9 others jumped on it. And because that's the only way that the people in your community are going to know who you are. And once I get finished edit this, I'll send you a copy, and you could use it any way you want. It's just we want to make sure that people hear you, and that's the whole idea of Texas in Color. We're here to support the candidates, and we know how budgets are, your TV time, and all that stuff. So this is the reason why Texas in Color steps up for
Appreciate
candidates.
that.
Yeah, for candidates to come on to let everybody know how you feel and all that good stuff, because we don't get a chance to hear that sometimes, and that's why we're here to help you out.
I appreciate that. I do.
Okay.
This has been such, and let me say this to you.
Okay.
This has been a different world for me. This is not something that, as I shared with you earlier, that I intended to jump into, and it can be a bit intimidating. But I'm an extrovert naturally, and you immediately put me at ease. I didn't feel like I needed to be defensive at all. I can just be Darsell.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And somebody told me that was my gift.
It's a gift.
My wife may not agree with that, but they told me that was my gift. I have a way of talking to people, and people just talk and just, well, I don't know. I'm just me. This is God's gift, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I thank you for that so very much.
Okay, you are so welcome. All right, until next time, and I want to hear back from you after the primary, because you're going to be in the primary, right? On
Yes,
March 3rd?
I'm the only one running.
Oh.
In the Democratic parts.
Okay.
My incumbent, I won't face her until November.
November, okay.
But the work starts now.
Okay. Well, keep us informed on how you when you win on March 3rd, okay? We're going to put that out there. When you win, please let us know.
I will.
Okay.
I certainly will.
All right. You take care.
Thank you so much, Ronald.
Oh, you
or
welcome.
shall I say Roland?
Oh, y'all didn't hear us off camera when we were talking. How people get my name mixed up. She said the same thing. It's spelled one way, they pronounce it another.
Yeah.
All right. You take care. We'll talk to you later.
You too.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.